What would you do if you had the chance to change a life, and your own, forever? Catherine, a young nurse in Los Angeles, didn't think twice when she saw a life in danger. Her heroic act that night saved a man's life, but little did she know, it would set her on a journey that would redefine her future in ways she never imagined. This is a story of courage, transformation, and discovering the power to create your own destiny. Are you ready to take that leap of faith in your own life? Hit the subscribe button and join Catherine's incredible journey of growth and self-discovery. Share this story with someone who needs to hear that change is possible, no matter where you start. Don't just wait for opportunities, create them. Let's inspire each other to take that first step toward a better tomorrow. Catherine, a 28-year-old nurse, is heading to her shift at a hospital in Los Angeles. She's a dedicated and hardworking professional, always putting the needs of her patients before her own. Los Angeles, with its ever-buzzing streets and neon lights, forms the perfect backdrop for her long night shifts. As she walks through the crowded streets, the sounds of traffic and distant chatter fill the air, blending into the city's heartbeat. On the other side of the city, James Montgomery, a powerful and wealthy CEO of a renowned tech company, enjoys dinner at an upscale restaurant. He's known for his sharp mind and ability to make game-changing decisions, but little does he know that this night will take a dramatic turn. The city's vibrant energy contrasts sharply with the quiet danger lurking nearby, as a mysterious assassin sets his sights on James. Unbeknownst to both, fate is about to intertwine their lives forever. Catherine, a simple nurse from a tough neighborhood, and James, a high-flying businessman, will soon meet in an unexpected and life-changing moment. As Catherine continues her walk down the bustling streets of Los Angeles, her thoughts are focused on the patients waiting for her at the hospital. She's used to the chaos of city life, but tonight, something feels different. A cold breeze brushes past her, making her pause for a moment. The streetlights flicker overhead, casting a dull glow on the pavement as she walks past the brightly lit restaurant where James Montgomery is dining. Inside, James is unaware of the danger lurking just outside. He's laughing with colleagues, enjoying a quiet moment in an otherwise hectic week. His world is full of power, wealth, and control, but tonight, a different kind of power is about to shift things forever. From across the room, a shadowy figure observes him, waiting for the perfect moment. This man, cloaked in mystery and carrying a dark agenda, slowly reaches into his coat pocket, pulling out a silenced pistol. At that precise moment, Catherine's gaze shifts toward the restaurant. Something about the scene catches her attention. She notices the figure standing by the window, his posture stiff, his eyes fixed on James. She's not sure why, but her instincts scream that something is terribly wrong. Without a second thought, she begins walking toward the restaurant. Just as the assassin raises his gun, aiming at James, Catherine's heart races. In a split second, she realizes the danger, and without thinking about the consequences, she makes a snap decision. Her body moves instinctively, driven by a fierce sense of right and wrong. She runs toward the restaurant, her mind fixed on one goal, to stop the unthinkable from happening. With a burst of adrenaline, she throws herself toward James, pushing him out of the line of fire. The shot rings out in the silent night, and Catherine feels the searing pain of the bullet as it strikes her shoulder. She falls to the ground, collapsing with a gasp, unable to keep her balance. The world around her blurs, and her last conscious thought is of the man she just saved, James Montgomery. Her vision fades to black as the sounds of sirens approach, and the restaurant erupts into chaos. Inside the restaurant, James lies flat against the floor, still shaken by the suddenness of the attack. He looks around in disbelief, unsure of what just happened. His heart pounds in his chest as he realizes that a complete stranger, a woman he's never met before, has just sacrificed her life to save his. The assassin, realizing his target has been foiled, quickly disappears into the night, leaving behind only confusion and fear. But for James, the gravity of the situation is just beginning to settle in. He watches as Catherine is carried away in an ambulance, her body limp, and he knows his life will never be the same. Catherine's world spins into darkness as the ambulance speeds through the crowded streets of Los Angeles. Her body feels heavy, her shoulder burning with intense pain, but her mind remains sharp, focused on one thing: she had saved a life. James Montgomery, the man she had just risked everything for, is now somewhere in the distance, safe, while she battles for her own survival. As the paramedics work quickly, their voices become muffled by the haze creeping over Catherine's consciousness. She can barely hold on to her thoughts, and soon, her body succumbs to the overwhelming fatigue of the wound. Her last breath is shallow, and her vision fades, leaving only the echo of the sirens and the panic of the emergency room. Hours later, Catherine regains consciousness in a sterile hospital room. The harsh lights above her make her squint, and for a few moments, she is disoriented. The pain in her shoulder is excruciating, and she instinctively reaches for it, but the sensation is dull, she is numb, her body stiff from the shock. The beeping of the heart monitor beside her is the only sound she can focus on as she tries to make sense of her surroundings. She turns her head, and there, sitting in a chair beside her bed, is James Montgomery. His expensive suit is rumpled, his face tired, but there's a look of gratitude and concern in his eyes that makes Catherine pause. She blinks, unsure of whether this is a dream or reality. "Are you?" she begins, her voice weak. "Why are you here?" James looks at her with a kind of intensity that surprises her. "You saved my life," he says simply, his voice laced with disbelief. "I owe you everything." Catherine, still struggling to piece together the events, glances down at her bandaged shoulder, the source of her pain. Her mind flashes back to the moment in the restaurant, pushing him out of the way of the bullet, feeling the sharp sting as it lodged into her body. She hadn't thought, hadn't hesitated, and now, here she was, alive, but not without consequences. "Why are you sitting here?" she asks again, her eyes narrowing in confusion. "I'm just a nurse." "You don't even know me." James's expression softens, and he leans forward slightly. "I know you're not just a nurse. You're a hero." His words are simple, but they carry a weight that Catherine feels deep in her chest. Her heart races as she processes this information. She wasn't expecting gratitude, let alone this level of attention. She thought she was just doing what anyone would do, acting in the moment to save a life. But now, as she faces the reality of what she's done, she starts to understand just how much her actions have affected this man. And yet, she doesn't know how to respond to his words. As she tries to sit up, the sharp pain in her shoulder flares up again, causing her to wince. James immediately moves to adjust her pillows, concern etched on his face. Catherine's mind whirls with questions. Why would he be here? Why wasn't he out celebrating his survival? Why was he still concerned about her? She looks at him, and for the first time, she sees a side of James Montgomery that no one else had ever witnessed, a side that is human, vulnerable, and perhaps in need of the same kind of help she so willingly offered him. But Catherine is no hero. She's just a woman trying to survive, just like anyone else. James looks at her again, his voice quiet but filled with sincerity. "You saved me, Catherine. And now, I'm not leaving your side until I know you're okay." As the days pass, Catherine begins to recover from the gunshot wound. Her shoulder is still sore, and the constant reminder of what happened lingers, but she's slowly getting back on her feet. The hospital staff continues to monitor her progress, but the most unexpected part of her recovery has been the company of James Montgomery. He remains by her side, never once leaving her alone for more than a few hours. At first, Catherine didn't know how to feel about his constant presence. She hadn't asked for his help, hadn't expected his gratitude, and certainly didn't need anyone hovering over her. But as the days wear on, Catherine starts to realize something she hadn't expected. James, the powerful businessman with endless resources, is not what she thought him to be. He's not some cold, untouchable figure surrounded by luxury and power. The more they talk, the more Catherine begins to see a different side to him, one that's surprisingly vulnerable and human. "How long have you been CEO of Montgomery Enterprises?" Catherine asks one evening as she sits up in her hospital bed, her voice quiet but curious. James leans against the edge of her bed, glancing down at his phone before meeting her gaze. "Too long," he replies with a dry chuckle, though there's no humor in his tone. "I've been in the business world since I was in my early 20s. Took over the company when I was 30. It's been a whirlwind since then." Catherine listens intently, intrigued by his story. She'd always thought of him as just a wealthy businessman, the type who had everything handed to him on a silver platter. But now, she begins to understand the pressure he must have felt to rise to the top, the sacrifices he made to get there. He wasn't born into privilege, he built his empire from the ground up, and with that came enemies, difficult decisions, and a life filled with constant stress. "I never had much of a childhood," he continues, his voice softer now, "and I didn't exactly have a lot of friends growing up. It was always about the next deal, the next big move. I didn't realize how much I missed out on until it was too late." Catherine is taken aback by his confession. She had assumed he lived a life of luxury without a care in the world. But now, hearing his words, she begins to see the cracks in the polished image. James Montgomery is a man who has lived a life of constant pressure, always needing to be one step ahead, constantly looking over his shoulder for the next threat. As their conversations continue over the following days, Catherine starts to open up more about herself, too. She tells James about growing up in a tough neighborhood in Los Angeles, about her struggles to become a nurse, and the sacrifices she made to get to where she is today. Her words come slowly at first, but as she sees the genuine interest in his eyes, she begins to feel more comfortable. For the first time in a long time, Catherine feels understood. She realizes that James, despite his wealth and status, has faced struggles of his own. They may come from completely different worlds, but in that moment, they find common ground. "I always thought people like you had it all figured out," Catherine says quietly, looking at him with new perspective. "But I see now. You've fought your own battles too." James nods, a small, almost wistful smile on his face. "We all have our battles, Catherine. It's just that sometimes, it takes a moment like this to really see them." As Catherine's recovery continues, James remains a constant presence in her life. His initial gratitude for saving his life seems to have evolved into something deeper, a genuine connection. After several weeks, Catherine is finally discharged from the hospital, her shoulder still tender but healing. Despite her lingering discomfort, she feels a strange sense of relief. It's not just because she's leaving the sterile hospital environment, but because something in her life has shifted. James has been nothing short of generous during her recovery. He's covered all her medical bills and even arranged for a private nurse to assist her at home, though Catherine insisted on doing most things herself. But as her time at home stretches on, Catherine begins to realize that the life she was living before, full of struggles and financial worries, is slipping away. It's almost as if the universe has handed her a new chance, and with it, a new set of possibilities. One evening, after Catherine finishes a long conversation with her best friend, Maya, about her future, she receives an unexpected call. It's James. "Catherine, I've been thinking," James begins, his voice calm but filled with purpose. "I know you've worked incredibly hard to get where you are, and you deserve so much more than the life you had before. I want to offer you something that might change everything for you." Catherine listens, her curiosity piqued, but still skeptical. "What do you mean?" "I'm fine. I don't need any more charity from you, James. I've already received more than I could ever ask for." James sighs, and Catherine can hear the sincerity in his tone. "It's not charity, Catherine. It's an opportunity. I've been thinking about how I could help you build something for yourself. I have a team of people, resources, and connections that could help you start something meaningful, something that aligns with your passion. What if I helped you open a healthcare facility for underprivileged communities? A place where people who can't afford traditional care can get the help they need." Catherine's breath catches in her throat. The idea is overwhelming. She never imagined she would be in a position to start something so big, let alone something that could make such an impact. She had spent her entire career caring for others, but now James is offering her a chance to build a legacy of her own, something that could change the lives of countless people. I don't know what to say," Catherine stammers, feeling both excited and terrified at the same time. "This is beyond anything I could have imagined." James's voice softens. "I've seen the way you care for others, Catherine. You've sacrificed so much to be the person you are today. You deserve to have the chance to create something that's your own. And I'll be here to support you every step of the way." As the call ends, Catherine sits in silence, the weight of the decision ahead of her pressing down on her chest. She knows this is a pivotal moment, one that could change her life forever. She has always been driven by the desire to help others, but this is a chance to shape her own future in a way she never thought possible. For the first time, Catherine feels like she has control over her destiny. She has an opportunity to do something that will not only make a difference in her own life but also in the lives of countless others. It's a dream she never thought she would have, and yet, it's right in front of her. As Catherine embarks on this new chapter of her life, she begins to see herself in an entirely different light. The woman who had once been overwhelmed by her struggles, consumed by the fear of never being able to make ends meet, now stands on the precipice of something incredible. The opportunity that James has offered her isn't just about starting a healthcare facility, it's about transforming her entire life. She has been given a chance to build something meaningful, something that reflects her passions, her values, and the hard work she's put into her career. But it's also a chance to redefine who she is. The transition isn't easy. Catherine has spent years working as a nurse, serving others in a medical setting, and now, she's about to take on the role of a leader, an entrepreneur. She's used to being in the background, not the one calling the shots. But with James's guidance and the support of his resources, Catherine starts to envision a future where she is more than just a caregiver. She could be a mentor, a visionary, someone who inspires others to pursue their dreams just as she's pursuing hers. At first, there are moments of doubt. Catherine feels the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. The stakes are high, and every decision seems to have the potential to change lives, both for the better and for the worse. But with each passing day, she finds herself growing stronger. She learns to trust her instincts, to step into the uncomfortable spaces where growth happens. She works tirelessly to make the dream of the healthcare facility a reality, from researching the best methods to reach underserved communities to securing the necessary funding. James is there every step of the way, offering his expertise and advice, but Catherine quickly learns that this is her vision, her project, and she must take ownership of it. With his encouragement, she becomes more assertive, making decisions with confidence, even when things get tough. She learns to lead with compassion, never losing sight of the core reason she started this journey in the first place, to help people in need. But it's not just about the business. Catherine finds herself growing in ways she never expected. She begins to understand her own worth, her own abilities, and the impact she can have on the world. She is no longer the scared, overworked nurse who didn't believe she could achieve much more than just getting by. She's a woman with a purpose, someone who is not only changing the lives of those around her but also transforming her own life in the process. Her self-confidence blossoms, and with it, a sense of empowerment that she had never experienced before. Catherine starts to see herself as a force for good, someone capable of creating real change in the world. As the healthcare facility begins to take shape, Catherine feels a deep sense of pride in what she's building, a legacy of care, compassion, and hope. The woman who once doubted her potential now stands tall, ready to take on the world. She knows that this journey is only just beginning, but she also knows that she's prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead. The person she's become is someone she can finally be proud of. As the healthcare facility takes shape, Catherine finds herself standing on the doorstep of something truly extraordinary. What started as a small idea, an opportunity given to her by a man she had never met before, has now blossomed into a fully realized dream. The building, which once stood as nothing more than an empty shell, is now bustling with life. Medical professionals, social workers, and volunteers have all come together under Catherine's leadership, united by a shared vision, to provide top-tier care to those who need it most. The doors are open, and patients are already walking in, their faces filled with gratitude. The first patient she treats in the new facility brings a rush of emotion that Catherine wasn't prepared for. As she holds the hand of an elderly woman who can barely afford the simplest of treatments, Catherine realizes just how much this facility means, not just to the people it serves, but to herself. This moment, this sense of purpose, is the culmination of everything she has worked for. It's the moment she understands that she's not just living her life, she's changing it, and the lives of countless others, forever. Catherine walks through the halls, her heart swelling with pride as she watches the staff interact with the patients. It's everything she ever dreamed of, seeing people who were once ignored or overlooked receiving the care they deserve. There are moments of joy, moments of quiet gratitude, and moments of deep, life-changing impact. And through it all, Catherine is at the center, not just as a leader, but as a symbol of resilience and transformation. As she steps outside for a brief moment of reflection, she's joined by James, who has been with her every step of the way. He stands beside her, quietly watching the success of their shared effort. Catherine turns to him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "I could never have done this without you," she says, her voice filled with emotion. James smiles, a soft, knowing look in his eyes. "No, Catherine. You did this. I only gave you the opportunity. You took it and made it something real." Catherine feels the weight of his words, and she knows he's right. James gave her a chance, yes, but it was her vision, her determination, and her willingness to take a leap of faith that made it all possible. She has become more than she ever thought she could be, an entrepreneur, a leader, a force for good. The healthcare facility continues to grow, expanding its reach to more and more communities. Catherine's work is far from over, but as she looks around at the lives she's touching, she feels a sense of peace. This is her purpose. This is her calling. She's no longer the woman who doubted her potential, she's the woman who stepped into her power and changed the world. And, perhaps most importantly, she's found something priceless, the realization that no matter where she started, no matter the obstacles in her way, she had the strength to create something beautiful. As she walks back into the facility, Catherine smiles to herself. The journey was long, but every moment, every challenge, every setback, every victory, has been worth it. She's exactly where she's meant to be. Catherine's journey has been one of immense personal growth and transformation. Her story teaches us that courage and self-belief can redefine the course of our lives. In the face of fear and uncertainty, Catherine chose to act with integrity, to do what was right, even when it meant risking her own safety. Her decision to save a stranger, a moment of spontaneous heroism, didn't just change James Montgomery's life, it changed hers as well. Through her selflessness, she discovered a hidden strength and a future full of possibilities. The most profound lesson Catherine learns is that our greatest obstacles are often the ones we place on ourselves. She had always doubted her worth, thinking that she was just another face in the crowd. But once she embraced her potential and recognized the power of her actions, everything shifted. Catherine learned that real change begins when we believe in ourselves enough to take the leap, whether it's saving a life, starting a new career, or dreaming bigger than we ever thought possible. Catherine's story is a reminder to take risks, even when the future feels uncertain. In our own lives, we often hesitate to seize opportunities because of fear or doubt. But real growth happens when we step out of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown. Whether in personal or professional pursuits, trust that you have the power to change your life, and the lives of others, by making bold, positive choices. Like Catherine, we can all create something meaningful if we take that first step and believe in our potential.